Good afternoon. My name is Jackie Wilson. I'm the Executive Director of Diversity and Inclusion at BSC Global and the Brooklyn Nets. First off, I want to start by thanking DJ Smalls. DJ Smalls is a graduate of Florida A&M University from the School of Business and Industry and a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. By day, she is an account executive with the Brooklyn Nets, and by night, she spins the hottest hits at Eve's Lounge in Brooklyn. Thank you, DJ Smalls. I'd also like to thank Brooklyn North School District Superintendent Janice Ross, Dr. Rochelle White, and Mr. Terrence Paulin for helping us put together today's program. These are important conversations, and having your support is instrumental in making this happen. So thank you. And I would like to welcome Superintendent Ross to say a few words.
Wow, what an honor and privilege to be here, Jackie. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Terrence. How are you today, sir? And DJ Smalls, thank you for getting us started. It's always important to have music. So here we are. I'm seeing the numbers growing. Brooklyn North High Schools, ready to listen. I'm super excited. We are graduating 5,000 young men and women of color this year. And we're hoping, of course, they're going to take advantage of the HBCUs around the country and any of the other schools that they feel comfortable with. But most importantly, I think it's important, and I'm committed to ensuring that our students have access to schools and places where they feel comfortable. And that is what this experience brings to our young people. So we together collectively support this event as something that we want to make sure all of our young people experience. And we want to have more of these tours, more of these conversations where they can be a part of these. So I'm just super excited for our young people. And hello to Brooklyn North students. You are here, you are in for a treat. Big shout out, and let me make sure that I know the right people I should be thanking, because Jackie, obviously, we've just met and already we're doing big things together. So love that. Terrence J, privilege and honor to be in a space with you today. And Chase Republic and FanDuel for sponsoring this event, right? We have to make sure that we shout those folks out. So, and I can't end without giving a big shout out to Sadra, because if it wasn't for her, none of this would happen. So big shout out to Sadra, yeah. And to Terrence and Rochelle, Terrence Paulin and Rochelle White, thanks for making sure our young people show up today. So let's go, let's do this. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Ross. Additionally, I'd like to recognize our partnership with FanDuel and their support behind solidifying a commitment to social justice by increasing opportunities for underserved communities. FanDuel continues to celebrate diversity in all forms and is committed to social equality and creating an inclusive and compassionate environment. In addition to supporting groups such as Black in Technology Foundation, the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, and the Flatiron School, FanDuel has partnered with the Brooklyn Nets and will be offering an internship program focused on hiring a diverse workforce and creating opportunities for the advancement of young Black professionals. So also thank you to FanDuel. And last but certainly not least, I'd like to welcome and thank all the students on this call. We have a very exciting and important conversation ahead. You know, we are all dreamers with aspirations for a brighter future. However, you can't be what you can't see. And HBCUs, or historically Black colleges and universities, are institutions of higher education in the United States that were established before the Civil Rights Act of 1964 with the intention of primarily serving the Black community. There are currently 101 HBCUs located throughout the nation, with most of them being located in the South. And HBCU graduates have made a tremendous contribution, not only to the United States, but around the world. And perhaps most importantly, HBCUs shape the way that students of color see themselves and instill a level of confidence, support, and sense of belonging. Today, we have one of those graduates who've made important contributions as an actor, activist, and producer. Mr. Terrence J is a proud graduate of North Carolina A&T, Aggie Pride, and a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Terrence, thank you so much for joining us today.
Jackie, what's happening, man? Thank you so much for having me.
Amen. So Terrence, let's go ahead and dive into it. Can you tell us a little bit about where you grew up and what were some of the factors that led you to decide to attend North Carolina A&T?
So I was actually born in New York. I lived in almost all of the boroughs. Spent some time in Brooklyn. I was born in Queens. Spent some time in Harlem as well. I moved down to North Carolina when I was like 10, 11 years old. And my mom really wanted me to go to college. When I was coming out of high school, my grades weren't great. I applied to a bunch of different colleges and universities, and I didn't get accepted. The school that took a chance on me was an HBCU. It's a school called North Carolina A&T State University, as you mentioned, located in Greensboro, North Carolina, and they took a chance on me. So when I went into school, I started out on academic probation, and I worked my way up from there. And by the time I graduated magna cum laude. I had a 3.8 GPA. I was student body president, member of a fraternity, and I had a much clearer focus on what I wanted to do with my life. But what I want to say to all the incredible high school students that are graduating, those 5,000 that are graduating, and anybody else that might be watching, is that when you're coming out of high school, sometimes you don't have it all figured out. Sometimes you don't know what you want to do with the rest of your life. Sometimes your grades aren't, the best. And so for me, an HBCU is the type of place that takes a chance on you. And they have the best students in the world, and they also give opportunities to other students as well. So I just, I thank A&T for giving me this opportunity to go to college, and that opportunity changed my life.
Wow, like that's impactful stuff. You talk about, a school taking a chance and investing on student bodies. And like that right there is exactly what we're here to talk about today. Talk to me a little bit about like what was your experience at A&T like, and like how did that shape your view of yourself?
My experience was phenomenal. Like I said, growing up in New York, it's a melting pot. So there were so many different kids that I had grown up with. But then when I was down in North Carolina, going to an HBCU just completely changed my perspective on things. I had professors that really spent extra time with me. I got to meet, incredible Black people from all over the country that had different experiences than I did. And that focus on Black culture, Black history, the Black community has shaped my life. A lot of times in high school, they don't really teach us in specificity about our culture and our heritage. We have 1 month, the shortest month of the year, February, where you go over a couple trivia and fun facts, but you're not really spending the time learning about Black people when you're in college. In high school. So going to a Black college, it really opened my eyes, and I had the most fun as well. Like I had a great experience, and I met people that are still in my life today. I met incredible friendships, incredible business relationships that are still impactful in my life now.
It's interesting. I didn't go to an HBCU, but I am very much a product of the HBCU system. Both of my parents went to Prairie View A&M. My brother and best friends went to Morehouse. An uncle played football at Jackson State. And as a student at Duke, I spent a lot of time on your old stomping grounds at A&T and North Carolina Central and Shaw University, because that was the place where I felt comfortable. I felt comfortable being around people that looked like me, that were, pursuing, education in a similar fashion. And of course, I got a chance to go over and hook up with the fraternities and sororities. Tell me a little bit about, I know you're an Omega. Like, tell me a little bit about like how that played into your college experience. I'm a Nuke, by the way, if you can.
Nice. Oh, listen, it's all 1911 love all day. It's in America now, Black people, we have different experiences, right? So you're in a blessed position. You have family, siblings, and parents that went to college, right? For me, I'm a first generation college student. My mom just really wanted me to go. And so being a part of a fraternity, it changed my life. Those are my brothers. That is the Black male influence that I had in my life all came from a fraternity, and it's a beautiful melting pot. So you having incredible brothers such as yourself. Duke is an amazing school, but I'm so happy to know, an hour down the road, you spent some time on the yard with us, and whether you're a member of, whether you're a Kappa, whether you're a Q, whether you're Alpha, Sigma, whatever, there's a certain level of respect and brotherhood and camaraderie that we have amongst each other, just to know that you went through something great while you was in school. I have another level of respect. So for anybody that's out there considering, I know there's movies about fraternities and there's, movies about sororities, and maybe all you see is just the step shows, and it's, hard to understand what it is. But really all it is it's an additional foundation. It's an additional support system. It's an additional brotherhood or sisterhood. And for me, the members of my organization, changed my life when I was in school. And then when I came out of school, there were incredible brothers like Steve Harvey and Shaquille O'Neal that are members of my fraternity that helped me out along my way. In addition to plenty of Kappas, plenty of Alpha, plenty of people that I've come across. And you're in a business meeting, you're like, oh man, you a Nuke? Well, that's even more love. Or my intern was an Alpha, and he was incredible, and we would laugh and joke about it. But there's just a certain camaraderie that you have. But again, I bring it back to the HBCU experience. There's nothing like, being Greek and on the yard. And whether you went to an amazing school like Duke or any Ivy League school, you still gonna come over to the yard to get that culture and get that, that feeling.
Dude, hey, I co-sign all of that. And you brought up, brothers like Steve Harvey and talked about how, your experience, like one at A&T, and then two in your fraternity have like helped shape your professional life. Talk to us a little bit about like what type of influence, being an HBCU grad has had on your professional life.
Oh, I mean, it's been exponential. Again, look, there are tons of high school kids that are students that are watching right now. They're not kids, y'all are grown. And look, there's different paths that you can take, right? We've seen, people like Mark Zuckerberg not finish college and make billions of dollars, right? So we know that there's you can make money without going to school, right? But then you look at somebody like Kamala Harris, who went to an HBCU. She went to Howard University, and you look at the foundation that she has and the structure that she has. There's so much value to me in going to college, and there's so much value that I see in going to an HBCU. For anybody that's deciding what you want to do with your life, those 4 years are instrumental. That is a little bit of a softer landing pad instead of jumping straight out there into the workforce. It's getting to make relationships with people, build friendships, have some time on your own, know what it's like to pay some bills on your own, but you're still in a confined structure. And then the education is just, you can't put a limit to that. There's still things in books that I read when I was at school that still resonate with me today. Still professors that I met when I was in college that I talk to today. I talked to one of my deans the other day, and just on how I can give back, and people that have been in my life for 20 years. So again, man, I just I want to big up all HBCUs and just tell anybody that's on the fence, trust me, you can go and you can still be creative and do all the things you want to do. And I came out of school, and within 2 years of graduating, I was on the career path that I wanted to be on. So, I just firmly believe in HBCU.
What would you tell the students listening here about, the importance of going to an HBCU over a predominantly white school? Like if to your point, like if they're on the fence right now and they're thinking through this, like what are some of the factors, that they should be considering that will, propel them professionally, socially, as well as, change the way that they view themselves?
Well, there was a common misconception, a common misconception, 20 years ago, back in 2000 when I went into school. And there were certain people in my life that was like, oh, HBCUs aren't up to the same standard as predominantly white institutions. And, I feel like through the accomplishments and the contributions of people like Spike Lee, people like Chadwick Boseman, when you look at, what the incredible people like just all the students that have come out, now by looking at Kamala Harris, you can be the vice president of the United States of America and have graduated from an HBCU. So, to answer your question, for me, the number one thing I want you to know is that there's no subpar things happening here. Whether you're going to Prairie View, whether you're going to Howard, Hampton, FAMU, Clark Atlanta, whatever, the education is on par with any Ivy League school that's out there. Incredible professors. And now, what it really boils down to is just the infrastructure. And if you come to North Carolina A&T State University right now, and you see our campus, and you see our gymnasiums, and you see our dorm rooms, and the sophistication of our engineering program, you will be blown away by the infrastructure. So I think, those were always the two things that I would hear, was that the education wasn't on par, and that the infrastructure and that the campuses and things weren't up to the same level. And I just want to let you guys know that's not true at all. HBCUs, are incredible institutions. And then in addition to that, you're never going to beat the culture. You're never going to have that type of experience. You are going to have the best time of your life. And, I don't shy away from the fact that college should be fun. You got plenty of time to be an adult, plenty of time to pay bills and go to work and clock it in. Those 4 years of college while you're learning and you're educating yourself, it's also an amazing time to experiment with things that you want to do with your life, and friendships and relationships and parties and all of those things. And there's nothing like going to an HBCU for that as well.
I'll tell you what, I went to A&T's homecoming, went to Howard's homecoming, with the Morehouse down at the AUC. It was a lot of fun. But tell me this, like, what was your favorite experience? Like, what do you cherish the most out of all of those wonderful things that you just said? Like, what do you cherish the most about your experience?
My politically correct answer would be, graduating, being there with my mom, being able to give her my college ring, walking down that stage, that was incredible. But the homecoming, the first year that I became a member of Omega Psi Phi, I was student body president that year. I had just crossed Omega my senior year, and it was homecoming. And that was just the best experience of my life. I was just had the most fun ever. And you cherish those moments, like I said, man, when you have an amazing job at the Brooklyn Nets franchise team, incredible team. So for you going to work, I'm sure, it's an incredible experience. But ain't nothing like being at HBCU homecoming. I don't care. I don't care what day work. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's nothing. I could be on set. I could host the Oscars, the Grammys, whatever. There's still nothing like being on the yard for homecoming,
man. Hey, man, I can co-sign that. I can certainly co-sign that. And so,
unless y'all win the chip this year, because y'all looking kind of strong. I don't know what y'all got. Y'all boys is looking kind of heavy over there, man.
Hey, that's the plan. That's
yeah. You guys got a lot of firepower over there. You got to talk offline, man.
So you touched on this a little bit when you were, you brought up Kamala Harris. You brought up Chadwick Boseman. There's other figures like Martin Luther King Jr. and Katherine Johnson, the NASA mathematician that was, portrayed in the movie Hidden Figures. Mm-hmm. What can we do? Like, how can the narrative through storytelling change to talk about the fact that you can go to an HBCU and get a top-notch education? I mean, I hear, one of the stats I hear all the time is there are more valedictorians that attend Morehouse College than any other school. So what can we do to change that perception and, encourage people to, experience your experiences?
Well, I think it takes the collective effort, right? I got to give kudos to you, Jackie, and your entire organization. We had a Zoom call yesterday, and it was incredible just to see the diversity, to see, the women in power, to see the Black people, in powerful positions at an incredible organization like the Brooklyn Nets, right? And when you have that, right, you have that people like yourself on the inside that are now using your power and your platform to connect with the next generation of leaders. That's where it starts, right? So it starts with all of us doing our jobs. Anytime Chase and my manager Fred hit me and it's like, okay, something related to HBCUs, I don't care what movie I'm filming or what TV show, I'm going to try to carve out the time in my schedule to make sure that we can do this type of outreach. So I think that it starts one with the people that are in office, and then everybody else across the board, whether you're a high-ranking dentist, a high-ranking engineer, it's all about us, giving our time to inspire the youth to attend HBCUs. Because what it boils down to is the better the students and the better the enrollment and the incredible students that are watching right now, to inspire them to go to an HBCU so that we can keep the enrollment high and we can have the best and brightest students going to HBCUs. That's only going to help, 5 years after when it comes time to give back, and that's the next part, is giving back. We have to continue to financially support HBCUs, to financially do those contributions. In addition to the work I'm sure you're doing on publicizing it, it's how do we get, these organizations to give more money back to HBCUs and back to the organizations like the Thurgood Marshall College Funds and, all of those, so that we can give the scholarships to students and so that we can get better facilities and attract more students. We want the best athletes to come so that we can have great sports programs, so that we can generate more money, so that we can do more for the students. So it's all a collective. It all serves itself. But for everybody that's on the line right now, two very easy directives is, if you're a student and you're on the fence, or even if you're not on the fence, I'm telling you, go to an HBCU. We need to support us. We don't need to just keep on giving our talents and our amazing craft and our amazing skill set. We don't need to just keep on giving that to predominantly other institutions, right? We need to bring it back home. We need to support Black institutions. We need to support each other. We need to have group economics and support each other. And for everybody like yourself, man, just keep on, fighting the good fight in the office. Keep on doing programs like this, and let's keep on getting the word out.
I appreciate everything you said. I think that a lot of that boils down into investment, like investing our time, investing resources, investing our brain power, and getting other people to do the same level of investment. And so as we are investing in ourselves and going to these schools, there's a perception that only Black and brown students attend HBCUs. And of course, I think that perception is rooted in the fact that HBCUs were started when Black and brown people were not allowed to go to other schools.
Yeah.
And so it became the only place that we could go. And so fast forwarding now to 2021, do you think that it's important for people that are not Black and brown to attend HBCUs?
That's a very important question. And so, well, first let's take it back to the history part that you mentioned, right? Because, somebody that may be unaware of the history of historically Black colleges and universities could come into it and say, oh, wow, you guys have your own Black colleges and it's reverse racism. What are you doing, right? So the history of Black colleges came because we were not allowed, Black people in this country were not allowed to attend Duke University, right? We weren't allowed to attend these predominantly white institutions. We weren't allowed to be a part of their sororities and fraternities. we were not allowed to go to their colleges and their campuses. So when Cheney University kicked things off, and that was one of the first HBCU, I believe, and the HBCU system started expanding, it came from a need, because Black people wanted to become educated in this country, and those institutions served us. So the history of HBCUs is, we didn't just start these colleges and universities because we were fed up. It was out of necessity, right? So now fast forward today, look, this is America. It's a very inclusive country. We 110% have the doors open to anybody, any person of any color, gender, race, creed. Like, you're all welcome to come to an HBCU. Anybody that wants to learn more about Black history and Black culture should come to an HBCU. And you should look at it as, you know, somebody that wants to become Catholic, right? You would go to a Catholic school if you want to learn more and dive into the Catholic religion, learn more about it. 100%. Even if you were brought up as a Christian, right? You can 100% attend a Catholic institution to learn more. And so HBCUs are the same way. It's a celebration, an inclusive celebration of Black and brown people of color, but we welcome our Hispanic brothers and sisters, our Asian brothers and sisters, our white brothers and sisters, you know, all creeds, all nationalities are welcome to come. And there are certain economic benefits to coming as well. There are definitely scholarships that are in place for people that are not Black to come to HBCUs. So you also have that added benefit as well. And again, I just want to bring it back to the biggest caveat, is that it's an incredible institution. We're not sitting around all day just learning about Frederick Douglass when we wake up, right? It's an amazing college, right? You know, the school I went to has one of the top engineering programs in the world. And, you know, we're not waking up, hey, where's the Black engineers? Like, no, it's about engineering, right? It's about agriculture and engineering. You know, when we put out doctors, our doctors and our dentists aren't just serving Black people, right? we know what we're doing, you know? So again, I want to encourage anyone to go to an HBCU because the programs are amazing. You just get the added benefit of being around Black people.
And as we both can attest, that is certainly an added benefit.
100%.
So, you know, and you touched on some of the things that you know we're doing, you know, with the Brooklyn Nets. One of those being having this type of conversation, you know, to shed light on HBCUs and encourage people, you know, to apply and attend. You know, what else can organizations do? What should we be asking our partners and sponsors in terms of supporting HBCUs and their initiatives?
So, you know, I mean, look, so the biggest thing for any organization is financial help and contribution, right? Anytime you can give money to an historically Black college or university, it's appreciated and needed, right? The endowment and the amount of giving back to a school like Harvard versus a school like Howard it's not even on the same scale, right? The amount of money that, you know, these Ivy League schools and predominantly white schools have versus our schools, it's exponentially different, right? So we need that support. Please, whether it's big or small, give back. Any scholarships that the Brooklyn Nets or any organization, again, could give to students to give them opportunities in the workforce so that they can have a great job like you, Jackie, right? So that they can work in different aspects of the team and like anything like that. Having those programs and internships set up with HBCUs, it's always appreciated, always great to be able to have that you know, that one-on-one through line to get students those jobs, because that's the big thing, is making sure our students can have those opportunities when they come out, right? And then, you know, the last piece of the puzzle is just to keep on doing programs like this. You know, you guys are leaders in the community, to keep on inspiring people. And then, you know, I'm a basketball fan too. So, you know, recruitment is huge. You know, if if amazing D1 athletes see, people getting plucked from HBCUs that are now making it to the league, that's always going to spark the brain cells. When I look at my brother, Chris Paul, him even wearing all the HBCU, nail and t-shirts or sweatshirts, all of that inspires amazing athletes, because we want the next James Hardens and Kyrie Irvings and Kevin Durant. We want that future generation of them to want to go to an HBCU, right? We don't want them to just go to, University of we don't want to go to North Carolina or University of Nebraska, whatever. We want them to go to HBCUs as well. So we want to inspire them in that way as well. So all of those things. But again, today is a celebration, and it starts with what you're doing right now. And so that's why I just want to, take my hat off and give you the kudos for programs like this now, because programs like this weren't really happening 10 years ago, even maybe 5 years ago. So the fact that the front office at the Brooklyn Nets is doing it and reaching out, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So let's just keep on doing it.
Dude, I love that. And to piggyback on some of the things that you said, like I think that an organization like the Brooklyn Nets, like I think the things that we are doing can really move the needle in terms of supporting HBCUs, because we are an international brand with owners that are committed to advancing causes that provide for economic mobility in minority communities. Like I truly believe that we can be industry leaders, in this space. And so to your point, we hosting, recruiting events for HBCU students, providing informational sessions like the one we're participating in today, and creating mentoring programs for current HBCU students. Like those are all things that we are actively working on to provide opportunities that may not have been there.
Well, yes, I mean, sports is sexy, and
right.
Well, is it true that everybody gets a ring if you win? So if the Nets win, do you get a ring as well?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing, right?
It's a team win.
How tall are you?
I am 5'9" on my best days. Depends on what J's I wear. So
I'm right there next to you. So I'm 5'10", maybe 5'11" on a good day, right? For us people that are under 6 feet, to have an opportunity to win an NBA championship ring, right? It's mind-blowing. And 20 years ago when I was in college, that sounds crazy, by the way. But when I was in college, I had an internship for NASCAR. They had a diversity internship program. And that internship changed my life because it taught me how to, write corporate letters in the marketing department, all those things. And so now the fact that you're doing these things, like you just said, those internships and those programs, you're going to change young people's lives, man. So I just want you to keep on, just keep it up. And I know sometimes it's a battle in those offices. So that's why I want to show y'all love. Just keep that going.
Hey man, I appreciate that. And not only are we offering internships internally, we're working with our partners. Like the ask for people that are partnering and sponsoring with us has changed, which is one of the reasons why FanDuel jumped on this experience here. Like we're working together to create an internship program with FanDuel so that students from Brooklyn North, once they graduate, can now go and get an internship in technology and go and work in these corporations. Because to your point, you gotta lean in and actually create these opportunities. It's one thing to talk about these things and to shed light. There's another thing to put action behind those words. And so we are actively looking to push the needle on that. And then I want to go back to one of the things that you said. You talked about Chris Paul. And, for those that are NBA fans, you saw him throughout the bubble, every game he had on different shoes, different outfits that had different HBCUs on there. You see him on ESPN's, I guess it's the Undefeated, where they have a new show out there to where highlighting North Carolina Central's basketball team. What do you think about programs and things like ESPN, that are leaning in and doing it from the sports angle and shedding light on HBCUs?
I think it's important, like you said, as a sports fan, getting those stories is inspirational and it's motivational. and it opens the door and it inspires, future generations. So it's very important. And, again, man, it's about all of us doing more. It's what we're doing now is more than what was being done before. And hopefully, 5 years from now, ESPN even has more programming focused on it. But, I really enjoy Undefeated. I'm a big fan of that type of programming. I can't wait to see what Chris has up his sleeves with that. And, I'm just ready for more.
I love it. Now, I know that you're a member of President Obama's My Brother's Keeper initiative, and Brooklyn North actually has a chapter as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that program and why it's important?
Yeah, the Obama administration really wanted to do something that specifically went after young men of color. And so the president, former president, put together this initiative. We did a lot of different things, from HBCUs and outreach to mentorship programs, to financial programs to give back, leadership programs, a ton of things. And he's still been doing it to this day. So again, man, I'm just happy that, he's in the realm of possibilities of being back around the office again. We're going into a new phase of leadership in 2021. And, I just wake up every day and my goal is for the 20-year-old version of me that's watching right now to have a better path to success than I had to have. And we want to create more opportunities. We want to, have more equality in this country, and programs like that are just, one step in that direction.
Man, Terrence, you have been dropping some nuggets on us today, man. Really, really appreciate you sharing this wisdom. Before we get out of here, is there anything that you want to leave the students with?
Right now, coming out of high school, it's a very important time in your life, and you have a lot of decisions to make on what you want to do with the rest of your life. And so again, man, just bringing it back, whatever you decide, I wish you the best. If it's to go straight into the workforce, start your career, start a business, whatever that may be. But I want to firmly nudge you in the direction of HBCUs. They're incredible institutions. Give yourself some more time. Don't rush into adulthood. Don't rush into paying bills just yet. Spend some time in college, go to an HBCU, have a great experience, and get ready for the rest of your life. I wish you nothing but success and love.
Hey, Terrence, today has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with the students of Brooklyn North and share your HBCU and professional experience. I think that we're all walking away a bit more inspired and certainly more informed, having come from this conversation. I also want to thank Brooklyn North School District and the Brooklyn Nets for creating this space to allow for this important conversation. And again, I want to thank FanDuel for not only sponsoring today's event, but working with us to create an internship program that will benefit the community.